Hey everybody, it is Monday, September 16th, 2019, and here is the Monday News Brief. Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Monday News Brief brought to you by CDTTV, a part of the Central Dakota Times. I'm your host again, Nate Iverson, and in this week we have Chamberlain School District Superintendent Deb Johnson back on the show. Dr. Johnson is going to give us a rundown on how the first couple weeks of school went, as well as previewing the next few weeks. And as always, if you'd like to see more of this story in print, other news, events, activities, and more, be sure to pick up your very own copy of the Central Dakota Times wherever newspapers are sold in Central South Dakota. Let's get to the interview. I can't believe it's been a month already.
Yeah, here we are.
We're here again. So,
Yep.
Dr. Johnson, thanks again for taking
Sure.
some time out of your morning.
Yep, you're welcome.
Regarding the school district, school year's underway, so
Yes.
how'd the first couple weeks go?
Very good. Yeah, it went real well. We were off to a good start. A lot of good things happening.
Sweet. And then I did see in the some previous minutes there was still some staffing updates. Is that just something you do regularly? Or?
Oh, we do it every meeting.
Okay.
And right now we're looking good. We're fully staffed.
Mhm.
And we have one assistant coaching position to fill. And so we're looking at that. That should be done by the end of I think early October, I think, or end of September we'll be done with that.
Oh, okay.
So we're in good shape.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was kind of, was that more of a challenging year? Do you usually
Yeah,
see
it was
that?
a monumental task, and I have given the administrators, the principals, a lot of credit at the board meetings because they really have done a nice job of filling those positions because a lot of times it falls on their shoulders
Mhm.
depending on where the positions are open, but they've done an excellent job with that.
So let's just start at the top of the list besides the staffing update, PBIS.
Yeah, positive behavior intervention supports. So
Okay.
it's an entire school district-wide program, but it's not a program that's specifically defined. We can go ahead and put it together the way we want to,
Mhm.
but there are many schools in South Dakota who have been doing it for years. We have come on board now within the last year. We've had training sessions in Sioux Falls. We have monthly meetings with the team that oversees all of it.
Mhm.
And so we're going to be putting some of those elements of that program into our school, which a lot of them we had, but it'll be more of a formalized thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's really hard right now to describe what it's all going to look like, but of course the outcome is positive behavior in the school. That's what it's all about.
Right.
And so that's where we're headed.
So is this a program started up, obviously there's other schools doing it. Is
Yep.
this a national thing or a state level?
I believe it's national, yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you Google it, you can find all kinds of information.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what was kind of the catalyst? Why did the district decide to roll with PBIS?
Well, I think, whenever you're working with discipline or behavior issues, we all have them. Every school does. We're not any different than anybody else. But if you continue to do it at the building level, you don't seem to have as much success. So when we look at expectations of students and staff, how we want everyone to behave in terms of being respectful, being responsible, those types of things.
Sure.
It works better if it's district-wide and the students hear the same language, we all know what we're talking about, and it continues to flow through each of the buildings much more easily than if you make those transitions all the time.
Okay. So I know you mentioned you're not entirely sure what pieces you're going to use or how it's going to formally look. Has it already been put into effect or is this still kind of in the works?
Well, we do have some things, like you've probably seen our big posters in the school. We have a small one outside the door I can show you before we go.
Sure.
But be responsible, be respectful, be safe, be here.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the four main goals, and then underneath each of them are some expectations, and under that, I'll give you a quick example. For example, at the elementary school, using the restroom facilities, this is how we do it, and then they have it outlined for the students, they take them through it, we practice, everybody knows what's going on.
Sure.
Now that might sound very simple, but if you ever been to the elementary, when kids go to the restroom, you need to have some kind of a system.
Of order? Yeah.
Some kind of order. So they show them how to do that. So that's a very simple example, but probably one that we can all relate to.
Sure. And again, I know it's still fairly early, but have you seen any, examples of success so far, or?
Well, the success we've seen so far is the staff's buy-in. That
Okay.
they want to do this, that they feel good about it.
And then I was reading up on PBIS a little bit. Part of it involves actually taking that into the home as well.
Sure, yep, and
Okay.
we've let the parents know. Tammy Brown has done a really nice job of putting a newsletter together of what PBIS is,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's also tagged that with our Title I newsletter as to letting parents know what's going on in the district. So we're good there with letting parents know at least we've started it, and then there'll be more along the way.
Right.
Plus, we have some cards that are being made up that we can send home to parents, give to kids, whatever we want to do that has to do with being positive.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So let's move on to the next line item here. Tribal and parental meeting in Fort Thompson. Is this a formal board meeting that's
Yes.
coming up?
Yep,
Okay.
it is. And we have 2 formal board meetings each year that have tribal and parental input.
Okay.
And one of them is in Fort Thompson, and one of them is here in Chamberlain. The Fort Thompson one is in October, and the other one is in February. And the reason we have one here is because we have a lot of our Native American families that live in Chamberlain.
Right.
And we want to give them the same opportunity that we do to people who live in Fort Thompson or are a little closer to that area.
Mhm.
Yeah. We do it twice a year.
Okay, so is this more of a, I mean, I know it's a formal board meeting, and there's probably, agenda items to
Yes.
work on, but is it more of a forum, kind of an open forum to discuss issues? Is that more what it's geared for?
Yes, there is an item on the agenda for that.
Okay.
And then our Native American Parent Advisory Group meets before the board meeting. And so there may be some issues that come from that meeting that we could discuss at the board meeting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. Another list that was also put out on Cub Nation, I noticed, was Title I Connections, sort of explaining, all the importance of Title I and what it does for the school and offers for students and parents alike. Can you take some time and explain what Title I and Title I Connections is?
Sure. Again, Tammy Brown is our program director
Okay.
that deals with all of that. All of our schools, elementary, middle, and high school, are considered Title I schools, which means they get the benefit of the funding that comes from that for staffing, supplies, programming, any of those kinds of things. And I think Tammy has put a nice newsletter together so that people can see what are some of the benefits, what are some of the direct things that our kids receive by being a Title I school.
Sure. So what is Title I exactly?
It's a federally funded program that allocates money to districts that can be used for certain allocations. There are very specific things that are identified in the grant that can be used for the program. So we are watched closely by the state. We have to submit what we do.
Sure.
And so we're watched closely so that to make sure that we follow the rules and regulations of
Okay.
that. Yeah.
And so this is something you apply for every year, or pretty much once you write it,
Yeah, it's not a competitive grant.
right.
It's more of a block grant that's
Okay.
given to the states, and then the states go ahead and give it to the schools. Yeah, based on population, economics, those kinds of things.
Gotcha. Good to know. Also, important academic dates coming up. I know we're already, 3 weeks into school? Midterms, days off of school in September. Do we have anything coming up that parents should be aware of?
Yeah, we have first of all, our early dismissal is next Monday on the 16th, and at that time we have a mini data retreat. So I'll send a school messenger call out to the parents so they know we're out at 2. Of course, we have homecoming week coming up. And then we also have, in October, there's a lot of testing. And I call it opportunities because some of them aren't mandatory. A lot of them for high school students, like the PSAT, and I don't know exactly what that acronym stands for. And we do have some other opportunities for them to be able to take some tests that may give them some scholarships, give them opportunities to go to some college or tech schools that they may not have thought about before.
Okay. And speaking of colleges and tech schools, you are having a program with Jeff Twite from Thrive It. Wow, I had a brain fart there. From Thrive It Financial. Can you explain a little bit what that is?
I don't have a lot of information on that. Our school principal would be the better one for that. But I know that he and Jeff are working closely on it. And they had a couple summer sessions this year too. I did attempt to get to one, didn't quite make it, but there will be more information out on that one too.
Awesome. And that will be on the usual channels. Is it Chamberlain at K12?
.sd.us, yep, that's our website, and then we'd like to post all important information on Cub Nation too.
Perfect. And Cub Nation is on Twitter and Facebook.
Yes.
So that is all I have for today. Dr. Johnson, you have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I think I'd like to let people know that we have a new custodian in our building.
Okay.
And that's Sarah Skustad, and she works at the elementary school. So we'd like to welcome her as a new staff member. And we also have, the board approved last night, our interim Native American Club advisor was Stephanie Altamirano.
Well, Dr. Johnson, thanks again. I can't believe it's been a month already.
Yeah, it has, and believe me, it'll be midterm and the end of the quarter before you know it.
As long as it doesn't snow.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Is there wood under this thing? I'm going to knock on it.
Yeah, that's okay.
So.
It doesn't matter because last year was the biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough. So.
Yep, okay.
All right, cool. Well, hey, Dr. Johnson, thanks.
Yeah.
Have a good week.
Yeah, thanks, Nate.
Thanks again for stopping by and joining us for another episode of the Monday News Brief brought to you by CDTTV, a part of the Central Dakota Times. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more, we're online at our website, www.centraldakotatimes.org, as well as our YouTube channel, Central Dakota Times Newspaper, and drop us a like on Facebook by searching Central Dakota Times. We'd love to have you become a part of our online community and check out some of our free content. Until next time, I'm Nate Iverson, and have a great week.